Well, there are kind of two. I'm teaching a class right now called Brand Strategy 101, and that is it takes people through the entire process from the first connection with a client through the first layers of conversation, stakeholder interviews, all that sort of stuff as you work with clients and develop strategy and design for them. There are kind of two main conversations, three really, that happen with a client. One is the qualification call. That's the most important one, where you find out whether they have the money, whether they value what you do, and whether they have enough to pay you for what you do. And that's just a kind of separating the wheat from the chaff kind of conversation, right? You give them a broad view of what you do, what it generally costs, huge range. And they go, oh, I can get there for $5 on Fiverr. And then you go, great, go get it on $5 on Fiverr, and you hang up the phone. Or they say, yeah, that sounds about right. And then you go, okay, we can talk. The next conversation is a discovery call, where you really dig in, and this is a 45 to an hour call where you're asking them a whole range of questions about their business, everything from their brand strategy, their customer avatar, their actual workings of the business, the finance, the revenue, products and services, where their digital footprint is, where they get their revenue, where's it come from, physical retail, digital, service businesses. I have a discovery call questionnaire that's literally 4 pages long of questions that you ask, and I can't run through them all. But essentially that's what you do. You dig deeply into what makes a client's business tick. And what that exposes is, number one, is what they came to you for actually what they need? A lot of times clients come to you and they say, I need a new website. When actually, after you question them and really dig into it, you realize they don't need a new website. What they need is a customer journey on their website, or new copywriting, or they need a better sales funnel, or they need a better content, better paid promotional advertising driving people to the website, or they need a clearer call to action on their website. So as you dig in, you become a bit of a detective. You have to take on the role of being a detective to ask deep questions, get the answers, and then ascertain what the client actually needs and build them something that's actually going to get them the results that they want. So that's a discovery call. You have that call. But then once you get engaged, I always do stakeholder interviews, where I interview multiple people in the company and ask them a series of questions around the brand voice, brand design, competitive set, customer avatars, all that sort of stuff. It then exposes how much the brand actually knows itself, and how much people inside of the company know the brand. And so that's kind of the three major conversations you have going into a meeting, but that's kind of how it works.
Do you find that there are a lot of stakeholders within the brands that aren't necessarily on the same page with brand voice and that kind of thing? Is that a common?
Yeah, it's happens much more frequently than you would think. And that's a great opportunity to figure it out for them and to do additional work for them. The more you can expose inconsistencies within the organization, the more a company will sit up straight and pay attention to what you're saying. Because most companies know that if you have stakeholders within the organization that are marching to different drummers, or have different priorities, or are going about things in different ways from each other, it's wasting resources, and it's wasting power and energy of the company to move forward. So having those conversations and really digging in and finding out where there are inconsistencies or lack of knowledge or blind spots is really important. And as a branding consultant, that's my job, is to find those things. I mean, I did a strategy brainstorming session with a client about 2 years ago, where I was in their corporate offices, and I was in the room with the CMO, the CFO, the CEO, the head of operations, head of production. And we were developing a brand positioning statement. And in the brand positioning statement, you talk about who you are, what you offer, who you offer it to, why you're better, why you're different. It's in a single statement, and it's a very wordsmithy kind of workshopy activity. But when we were working, I was asking these C-suite level executives, what is it that your company does? If you had to phrase the one thing that your company does in like 7 words, what would it be? And the CEO and the COO of this company could not agree with what their company did. And I thought, this is a problem. And so we hammered it out. We got in there and it's, you act like a referee
Mediator,
kind of a
yeah.
slave driver and a mediator, yeah, and a babysitter and a troublemaker. And that's what I love about what I do, is because you're really getting in there and you're like working with the clay, and you're trying to take stakeholders and get them aligned around a particular goal. And when you do, it's such a beautiful thing, because you just see you see the clarity and the energy come back into the company.